Right, cool. So we're going to get started this week, and what we're going to be covering is navigating Christmas. So, obviously, first week of December, the big kind of elephant in the room, everyone's scared of is kind of, okay, cool, like Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up. How do I navigate my goals and what I'm doing around Christmas? It's always kind of like one of those things where it's like, do I need to make any changes? Do I need to strategize around it? Like, what do I do? And it becomes like this big panic. So I think this is like a really, really, really important one to cover today. And that's exactly why we're going to be doing it. So if you're kind of watching back on YouTube, then obviously make sure that you're applying it, make some notes. And if you're listening to Spotify, maybe you're driving all that, then make sure you're taking mental notes as you go along and come back to it later because I don't want there's no need for anyone to have like any questions or that once we cover this, unless it's about the things that I've said and you're not too sure. So there shouldn't really be like I'm struggling around Christmas, which I'll cover also. Like, there will be a time, but like generally this should cover most of concerns. And if there is any, then there's always an opportunity to ask questions or discuss in the group chat. So first of all, I think the most important thing is that it's December for everyone. So whether you celebrate Christmas or not, that's always like a thing that's up for debate. But it's December if you're living in the UK. It gets darker, it gets colder. Everyone's facing the same shit. So it's not just like a thing that you're feeling. So don't feel isolated. Don't feel like you're the only one going through it. Everyone goes through it. But what makes a difference between the person who gets up and cracks on with it and the person who's struggling or maybe you're not feeling it is just the simple fact of just getting on with it. Detaching that kind of feeling or emotion of sometimes we can sit so much in our thoughts that we start to believe and tell ourselves things and it gets worse. So if we just tell ourselves, do you know what? And this is what's crazy to me is that everyone sees me in shorts and they're like, "You're crazy for wearing shorts," and I'm like, "You're crazy for always telling yourself that it's too cold." And like, do you know what I mean? It's just like the more that you kind of keep telling, if I kept telling myself I'm cold, I'm in shorts, and I'm crazy, then I wouldn't be doing it. Whereas if I was just like, "Do you know what? It's cool. Like, I'm just in shorts. Like, I'm ready to train. I'm just going." For example, um, don't let others or this whole thing of it's December, it's cold, the darkness. Don't let that get to you. It is really easy and it is a struggle. I'm not dismissing anything. I'm not dismissing thoughts or feelings. I'd never do that. But it's just like for a blanket statement is that the more that you feed into the thing, the more that it becomes a thing. So if you're always surrounded by people that are like, oh, it's cold, it's dark, it's like, you know, you're crazy for doing it, then, shock, you're going to feel crazy. So you just got to keep powering through and you've got to get on with it. So, and that's the thing is that it is December for everyone, and everyone has to go through this time of the month, this time of the year. Um, and again, like people are out there smashing their goals, you might feel like you're struggling, but then identify what's the difference. And then this is what we're going to cover here. So the Christmas plan. So first of all, if there's like for me, if there's any other doubts about kind of where you are or motivation, you just need to remind yourself of the goal. Because if you can't, if you're getting up and you're not really pumped or you're not like ready to get in the gym, like you're absolutely focused, then clearly your goal's not strong enough. And you need to send me a message and you need to message me and you need to say, Sean, I actually don't think my goal is strong enough because it doesn't get me out of bed. Can we do like a goal setting plan? Anyone who comes off the back of this video because they feel like they're low on motivation and they're not sure about their goal will spend an hour going through your goal and making sure you're absolutely clear of where you want to be because and again that's always a thing, right? Is that if you don't have a specific goal and it's for health and wellness and you're kind of just doing this as an overall picture, that's cool. But if you're again like if you're struggling with motivation and you're kind of always being beaten down by this whole thing of not being able to do something, you just need to stay laser focused to the goal. Have it on a post-it note on the fridge. Put it wherever you are. Put it in the car, post-it notes. Put it as your screensaver. I'm going to be, if it's to gain weight or get stronger, I'm going to lift, 10 kg extra on bench press by X date. If you can't see your goal, where are you going? So you need to remind yourself every single day what the goal is, and you need to have that fire in your stomach that gets you up and gets you going. Oh, it's cold. Doesn't matter. I'm going to the fucking gym. I'm gonna do my shit. And then it's like get your shit planned. If you know that you need to be training 4 days a week, for example, and shock horror, you get shit sleep the night before, and then you have to go up at, you know, what? Let's say you have to train on a Wednesday, you didn't get good sleep or you had shit sleep. That's on you. Like, if you didn't plan that day before, that's not because you've had like a bad day or it's a bad start to the day. You have to take accountability and you say, oh, do you know what? I didn't actually plan very well the day before. That's now had an impact on this day. And I've just spent, 30 minutes going through with someone in the coaching group about schedules and just breaking stuff down and getting stuff done. And Lord and behold, like it's like, this weight or has been taken off the shoulders and everything seems more clear. And that's exactly why we have coaches. That's why we have people. That's why you're part of this community is to take advantage of it. Like if things feel like it's like this foggy mess, then just drop me a message and we'll go over it because that's exactly what the problem is that stops you from achieving the thing that you want is that it's being stuck in your own head. And as soon as you start to, you know, talk about it and break it down, it doesn't seem so bad because everything builds up in our head. And again, like I said before, like we start to feed into that. As soon as you start to share it, you actually realize it's not too bad. And actually, I can plan around it. Something like think about some of like the biggest times that you felt like you were never going to be able to get out of a situation or you weren't able to achieve something and somehow we're all here, right? It doesn't matter like whatever that process was, somehow you got to the end of it. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like if I feel like I can't do it, then trust me, it's all gonna work. It's just how you plan your week, and you structure your week to then be able to achieve that. So again, especially for the planning and the calendar thing, there's a video that you can watch back on YouTube. Once I send this into the chat, obviously you can scroll down a little bit and you can find the video on like how to structure your calendar. And as soon as honestly, like I'm not BSing. I'm not selling like this stupid thing. Like anyone who's like sat down and done like a calendar with me, it's worked. And I can say it for myself as well, and you'll find that out from the video. So if you feel like things are a little bit all over the place, you've got like this cloudy head, and it's kind of like, oh, I just don't know what the structure is, then get your shit planned. Third is start doing the things you haven't been doing. So now it's about kind of, okay, cool. How do I navigate around Christmas? Well, let's take it as an opportunity to start something that you haven't been doing or what's been missing. Because the last thing you want to do is, again, just being in the same cycle because, this whole routine of, getting up in the dark or wherever it is going to work. Let's do something additional. Let's create that new challenge, that new fire. Think about your goal. What else could you be doing? What haven't you been doing? Have you been doing your check-ins? Have you been coming to the Zoom calls? Have you been watching back the Zoom calls if you weren't able to make it? Have you been messaging me when you struggle? The support is there, and if you feel like it's not, then I'm always open to suggestions. But if you haven't been doing those things, then how would you expect to see the results? Because sometimes that happens as well. You start to question things. You start to think, maybe I need this, this, and this, or maybe I need to start taking protein shakes, or maybe I need to look at this, this, I don't know, six pack plan that's like, 8 weeks long, or sign up to this, fat burning pill that will like get rid of it. Or how about you just stick to the fucking process, you do the shit that has been proven to work, and you get it done. And again, it goes back to that whole thing of we build stuff up in our heads and it just builds up and we question and we look for other answers. We look for the new shiny object rather than just sticking it out and actually doing the shit you're supposed to do. So once we start to really nail those four things down, then it almost doesn't become this whole question game. You're not struggling. It's and again, like these things are natural, but that's just the way it is. And again, like just to if if it's hard to think about what I'm talking about in particular, another way that I can look at it is that, I'm in a group with like other coaches and we're doing this photo shoot on the weekend. And there are other fitness coaches and they're saying about how much they're struggling with their diet, how they're low on mood and they're miserable. And yeah, that's because you've been eating fucking McDonald's like once a week or you've been cheating on your meals and then you have to go and suffer with a shit diet. when actually you could have just been doing a structured meal and sticking to a diet the whole way along, not killing yourself, and you feel absolutely fine. So it's like always looking for like the new shiny thing rather than just sticking it out and just doing what no one else wants to do. Like honestly, there's so much success in just doing small things over and over and over and over and over again. People be like, oh, you can't just do that, but you can. And it's like over time, the results build. As soon as you start to look for that spike, that shiny thing, that's when it drops again and then it comes up. It's almost like if you're into like stocks and trades, it's like how crypto is. It's like up and down, rather than just being like a good hedge fund that just slowly starts to build up. And that's exactly what your results and your progress needs to look like just by doing the things over and over and over again and getting really good at it. Reach out for help. If you're struggling, just like that's what I'm here for. Reach out for help. Um, I reach out for help when I'm struggling. Like, and again, like that's why I pay for my coach, and that's why I pay for a community that I'm in, and that's why I have a particular group of friends around me that I can have, and I can reach out for help if I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. We're all here with human beings, like we all have our struggles, and we're all here to collaborate and help each other. Like, don't be afraid of collaboration. Don't be afraid of support. And some of you in this group are really good at it. And it just makes sense. If I'm not able to respond for whatever reason, which is rare, but like if you needed something in that moment, then message group chat. Someone's always going to be around. Don't suffer alone because you don't have to do that. And it's the suffering alone that's got you in the position that you were before that you joined this program. So it's like, let's take advantage of what's here and what's new, and don't be afraid of diving in and fully committing. Fifth is find your low power mode, which we'll go over in more depth. And I've t spoken about this a few times, just like randomly here and there, but I think I'm going to cover this properly. And I think it's really useful. But I think six as well is just like, just enjoy Christmas as well. A lot of people think that they have to plan things around. But again, if we go back to the number three, if you're just consistent with what you do the stuff that no one else wants to do, and you just grind it out and you just do the things. And again, some of you are like really good at doing that. But if you just do the simple things over and over again, then you won't have to think about, oh no, Christmas, like I can't have this, or it's 24 hours, it's a day. If you think that's going to ruin your 6 months, then maybe it's a reflection of your 6 months, not the day, right? Um, I could go away last week and have, pizza, Wingstop, because I was like, do you know what? Like I've done my dieting for the past 16 weeks. This day is not gonna matter. Yeah, I was still in the right range and I was still in control, but is it gonna make a difference? No, because I've done all of the horrible stuff ages ago. So, I'm not the one stressing now, not having to eat any food and killing myself. So exactly the same as this is like, if you feel like you have to sacrifice your Christmas, maybe it was a reflection of everything before that. So just a thought. So low power mode, what is this? This is probably like one of my, I don't know what to say. Like it's kind of how to kind of manage the days where it is low. So, we all have days where it's a bit shit and, it is dark and it is cold. Like that's a fact, and again, like, I would never dismiss that. So you just need to identify when you're going to put your power saving mode on, because outside of fitness, we've got work. Like, some of us have kids. We have to, make food, prepare food. We have to think about our health. We have to, there's so many things going on. And this is why I call it an energy saving mode or a low power mode. It's because imagine if we were our phones. Some of us have 10, 15, 20 apps all open, running at like 100%. And what would happen to your phone if you done that? The battery would just drain, 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 drain. And then you'd have to put it on battery mode, then you'd have to charge your phone. Whereas, and we're the exact same. Think about, I don't know, let's just say your work is Instagram and your training is TikTok, and you're trying to consume all these things. You start to go from that 100% down to 20%, and then you have to put your power mode on. So 100%, what would that look like? Maybe you're doing 5, 6 workouts a week. You're hitting your step goals. You're smashing your nutrition. You're on top of everything. Everything's written down. It's all planned. Life's good. Like we all know what I'm talking about. You feel like you're always smashing it. Then there's some weeks where you go, I don't think that's possible. Like, I'm really struggling. And again, that happens. That's normal. It's part of the process. I have those weeks, I have those days. And that's when you go, cool, I'm going to go into power saving mode. So then I can still do the stuff. I'm not going to pause my progress, but I'm just going to go on power saving mode just to kind of stop myself from going to that 0% and that place where it's like impossible to return. So what does power saving mode look like to you? So I would say, okay, cool, 2 workouts a week, 2 full body workouts. Maybe it's 80% of my goals. Rather than doing 10,000, I'm doing 8,000. And then just managing my calories. Maybe I'm not focused on hitting and smashing my protein goal or my carb goal, but I am if I'm looking for weight loss or if I'm looking for weight gain hitting that exact calorie goal that I've been given. So rather than thinking about, oh, exactly 200 grams of protein, maybe I didn't hit the protein, but I'm still under my calories. So I'm like, I'm in a good place and I've enjoyed the foods that I wanted to have. So it's just when to put that into place and recognizing that it's a real thing and it's okay to do that. Because guess what? You've still now made progress and you've also stopped yourself from completely capitulating and going to 0% and your phone dying. Obviously, we're not going to die, but like what I'm saying is that it's a point of no return. And you have that as well, like especially when it comes to like mental health and stuff, you've got like a red zone, you've got an amber zone, and you've got a green zone. And your green zone is when you're smashing it. And the red zone is actually a zone where like, no one can really help you. You have to get yourself out of that place. The orange zone, which is our power saving mode, is, and this is what I say, is where you can still kind of just tick along and you can still get to that green zone. But as soon as if you were still trying to hit that 100% battery, you were still trying to do those 5, 6 workouts a week, you were trying to run all of those applications that are open, then, you're going to go to that red zone, the phone's going to die, and then you're going to have to recharge and you're going to have to wait a while. And that's when people take out like 2, 2, 3, 4 weeks of training, which is the last thing that we want. And getting that person back from red to amber is really, really difficult. So, identify what your power saving mode is, make a list. If you have questions about what that might look like for you, then we can go through that. Again, like we can go through a session, we can go through a goal session, we can go through a power mode, like power saving mode session. Like for me, I keep it real simple. I'll do my power saving mode is getting up, brushing my teeth in the morning, having a shower, making my bed, do some sort of a walk in the evening. And I know that if I've done those 5 things, I've won for the day, and I've done the basics. And then just because I probably feel good because I've done my 5 things, maybe then I feel a little bit ambitious and I might do a workout if I've got some time. So just get into the habit of winning as well. But I think that's going to be a key one in December is just knowing that, when it does get a little bit stressful, maybe there's a lot around like Christmas presents and like families and organizing families coming together and stuff or whatever that is. Identify what your power saving mode is and just go, okay, cool. Do you know what? This week might be a little bit quieter because I've got X going on. But then as soon as that's kind of over, we then need to identify when we're in the 50%, the 60%, and then the 80% range where we go, cool, like we're back into the swing of things. So not completely stopping our progress, but we're just managing the complete downfall of that. And then again, like that's when I go into the 80-20% rule, and probably going into like the traffic light system is again, is that as long as we're doing the good stuff 80% of the time, we have a leeway of doing the bad stuff 20%. As soon as that 20% turns into the good stuff and the 80% is the bad stuff, that's when there's a serious issue, and that's when we really need to like work on mindset and, forget about training, forget about nutrition. You just need to work on mindset. You need to start focusing on small wins. Like you have to reset again. And again, like no one wants to be there. It's not a great place. Just make sure that you're managing those expectations of yourself. Like, some of you are so harsh on yourself and it's like you're all smashing it and you're all doing like majority is like doing so well. And it's just like, give yourself a break. Like honestly, like still do the work, obviously, but like, give yourself a break. Like think about where you were this time last year. Think about where you were, 6 months ago. Think about where you were 3 months ago. Like some of you are like completely different people. So it's just like at the same time, give yourself a break, but just make sure that, majority of the time we're doing the right stuff, and then 20% you can kind of just chill and, relax. Because at the end of the day, even if we're making 1% progress, it's still progress. And then that leaves us less like literally, if you're a little bit cautious about December, you're like maybe something changes or nah, let's just fucking do it. Like let's absolutely kill it. You know, I've got my photo shoot next week, this week. After the photo shoot, then it's gonna be on to like the next thing. You know, I'm fucking buzzing for my goals because I know exactly what I want and where I'm going. So it's like everyone else should feel the same. Like, where do you see yourself in January? All of the other people, they're going to be joining the gym in January. They're going to be like, oh, oh, they're going to be looking at you and they're going to be going, oh, I want to be like you. Like, you've always been going to the gym. Like, you've been doing this already. I'm jumping on the bandwagon and I'm trying to get on it. But you're the leaders. You're already here. You're on this Zoom call. You're listening to this Zoom call. You're fucking winning and you're going to fucking do it and you're going to smash it. So it does get a little bit hard. And it does get a little bit difficult, but just stick to the blueprint, do the shit that no one else wants to do, and trust me, by the time that January hits, the time when everyone else wants to start, you're already ahead and you're already killing it. And then it just doesn't become as difficult as what everyone else has to do. So hopefully that Zoom call helped. Um, I think some of you probably seriously need to hear that. You need that self-belief. You need that spark, that fire. Just be like, cool, like I'm excited to get up in the cold. You think the cold's gonna stop me? That's what's the fun of it. Like, fuck that shit. I'm gonna smash my goals and I'm gonna be exactly where I want to be in 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 6 months, next year, whatever it is the goal is. You're gonna be like absolutely killing it. So change the mindset, do the shit, hard shit, and just fucking smash it. Let's go.